Well, welcome back everybody. Hammer Time here. Doing this second video of however long my series will be on BBR. It's for new players that are wanting to get into BBR or had just started or been in it for a while but excuse me, or struggling to figure their way out in BBR. So I'm kind of doing a series to try to help you to learn the game more and to be able to, have the tools and the confidence to go into a game with players that have been playing a lot longer and who are a lot better than you. To be able to go into those games, like in tournaments and in one-on-one games, and just to be able to compete. And maybe you won't win, but you'll still make it a good game. And over time, you'll start winning. So this is the great Lieutenant Dan map. Everybody knows Lieutenant Dan. Got everything set up here to jump right into a game, right? This is the fun part of it, is to set the board up and pick your sides, axis or allies. You got your strategies all planned out. You're ready to roll, but well, you better halt the brakes first, guys, because this is exactly what I did a couple years ago when I first started. I thought I would be able to jump right into this and play Greg. Wojtek is his game name. Thought I would do just fine, and well, I did not know the game at all. So I am going to show you what I did after about 2 months of struggling right off the bat. When I first started in BBR, that was pretty much right when I got into Axis and Allies. I jumped right into BBR. I'll show you what I did to learn this game, because you have to have a good foundation. And I've had a lot of people over the last 5-6 months that I've talked to. I got some guys I talk to personally, try to help them out in the games. They don't come to tournaments or anything. They might in the future, but I'm still trying to get them. But a lot of people say they have problems with, just learning the game and trying to figure out where all the points are at so they know what their opponents are doing and what they need to be doing. So I'm going to show you what I have to go to the floor here, because I live in the lofts, in downtown St. Louis. Got high ceilings, but not enough room to put a couple tables. So I've got an old, I don't know if this is BBR 3 or BBR 4 map. I think it's a 4, I'm just not too sure. But this is what I did. First of all, you guys, and this is just for visual, I know this is a BBR 3 rulebook. I use my rule books. I download them to my phone, so wherever I'm playing at, I don't have to bring books or anything. I just access it right in my downloads on my phone. Well, here it is right here, first page. I mean, I didn't even plan this. I just opened it up, looking at the book through my phone here. And here's what Cyberbullet puts for his first game, or first page. Rules of warfare. Rules of the game. How are you going to play that with all them pieces if you don't know this? And I'm not saying you have to know this 100%, because guess what? I still ask questions today on rules. So don't think I'm going to be sitting here telling you to learn 100% of, now this is just a BBR 3 book, but I'm sure the page numbers is about the same in the BBR 5, but there it is, 48 pages. Okay, here's the BBR Bible, the good book of BBR. And it gives you everything, your victory, how to win the war, all your points right here, right off the bat. And it just it goes through everything, okay? So you can see it's not heavy reading. You know, one page probably take you 45 seconds maybe to read. But it goes through everything you need to know in this game. When it comes to the rules, your national objectives, how to win the game, the point system, everything. So I'm going to start this series off just by a short video. Well, it probably won't end up short, knowing me. But here it is right here. The rule book. You gotta pick this up. I did not do it the first couple months. I thought I could just wing it and learn. Yes, you learn through experience on playing on the big board and moving those great units around the board and rolling dice. So yes, you learn a lot there, but you'll learn faster and you'll have a better foundation if you learn the book. Read this book, the rules, and I'm telling you, after a couple months, I started reading this, okay? I just took it everywhere, whether I was at work or at home, and I would just read it. And when you read this book about the special tech and all the rules and what you can and can't do, you actually start forming ideas in your mind right off the bat. Oh, I could use this rule to my advantage, or, you know, these rules is what forms your strategy, okay? You can't form a good strategy, whether it's offensively or defensively, if you don't know the rules, okay? Like in Japan, I see guys, new guys, that will try to build a fleet for Japan to stop a massive ally fleet coming in and taking Tokyo. So they'll sit there and spend money on boats just to protect Tokyo. So I'll go to the board here. Just an example of why you should read the rules. Listen, they got super battleships over here, okay? They bought 4 of them. And they got some cruisers, okay? So they're going to be rolling 4 4s, some 2s, and a few 3s, right? As bombards. So you're going to sit here and try to defend a fleet or something. And guys don't understand. These 2 units right here, you could use a tactical too. So I'll include that. And it doesn't have to be a destroyer. It could be a cruiser or whatever ship. But I'm just telling you. When you read the rules and you learn the game, this is what you learn. 1 destroyer can be placed here in the C zone. Don't forget about 6A, because people forget about that. But, so this is a bad example, because then I explain that 6A is also attached to Tokyo. So an American fleet can come into 6A and 6, and if you only have 1 plane in Tokyo, you scramble here. Okay, you stop the bombards here, but you don't here. So kind of defeats the purpose of using this territory, but I'll still go ahead and use it. You'll understand. You don't need to spend so much on stopping bombards and worrying about a big fleet. 1 destroyer in a C zone will stop every single bombard that came in. Or 1 fighter. If you just leave 1 fighter on Tokyo, you don't have the destroyer. You have 1 fighter, and let's just say the whole fleet comes into 6. You just scramble 1 fighter. He's going to be dead, but it's okay. You scramble 1 fighter, and you stop all the bombards. Tactical work too. Okay? So, that's just an example of all the good strategies you can learn in this game to make your play better, as if you learn this book. Okay? So, just read it a couple times. Then go play. Come back and read it a couple more times. Go play another game. And I guarantee after you read this book about 6, 7 to 10 times, which, yep, I've read it even more than that, you'll still have questions, but you're going to find your game really improve. Now, point system. How do you win? What's the points on BBR? I still see a lot of players, and a lot of players still ask me, man, I read, they'll go here, okay? So for visual effect, let's do this. Let's go to where the points are at. I think, yeah, here they are. Okay. Sorry about the bouncing around. I'm kind of sitting on the floor, sort of, in a chair. Here's your points, right? Got a list of all your victory cities that you can get. Okay? So those are, if you just get Shanghai, there's just one victory point. Each one of these are one victory point. Okay? Now here's the other victory points that you can get, like the Imperial point. Japan's collecting 52. Reich, if Germany and Italy, they have to be on the Axis side, is collecting 70. World oil, you have 4 of 10 territories that have the oil. You know, the ones that have the oils on it. Those are your oil territories. There's 10 of them on the board. Some in Europe, some in the Middle East, and the rest in the Pacific. But anyways, so I see a lot of players that say, yeah, I've read them. And I've done that too. You read these, and then you go play the game, and you just can't remember them. And I struggled with that a lot. Greg will tell you, when we played one-on-one, or even in our first tournament, I always had I had to resort to him, asking him, okay, what's this point consist of? You know, what do I need for the Med point? What do I need for the Horn of Africa point? What do I need for the Island point? So this is what I did. And this is just an introduction on what you guys should do to learn this game. Number 1 is the book. There's the Bible, right there. Learn it, read it, learn it, read it, learn it, read it. Keep that thing in your mind fresh. Grab a map, guys. Grab the BBR 5 map. This one's just for visual effects. It's BBR 3, I think, or 4. But anyways, here's the map here, laid out with no units on it. None whatsoever, okay? But it has all the points and this is what I did to learn, so I'm going to show you. I put all the points on here. These yellow chips just signify that if you have that territory, that's a point. So, Rio de Janeiro, if you come down here as the axis and grab it, that's 1 victory point. Ottawa's another. London, Paris, Berlin, Warsaw, Rome, Leningrad, Moscow, Stalingrad, Cairo. There's Calcutta. Sydney down here in Australia. You got Manila, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Tokyo, Honolulu, and don't forget San Francisco and Juneau up there in Alaska. Any one of those territories is a victory point in and of itself. Then, as you read in the rule book and I showed you, there's other victory points, like the Med point. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for Cairo, Greece, southern France, and Gibraltar. The rule states to get this point, you have to own 3 of these 4 territories: Cairo, Greece, southern France, and Gibraltar. And Sicily and Sardinia, Malta, Crete, and Cyprus cannot be owned by the Allies. They cannot control it. So, that's the Med point. So at the beginning of the game, Malta and Crete, or Cyprus, is owned by the Allies. So you have to go take these 2. The Horn of Africa point is British Somaliland, Italia Somaliland, Ethiopia, Kenya, Anglo-Egypt Sudan. South Africa is Southwest Africa and the Union of South Africa. Then you got the resource point, which is Ukraine, Caucasus, Urals, Manchuria, and Siberia. There's 5 of them. You got to own 3 of them. The oil point, or let's stay over here and do the Atlantic Wall, is Norway, Denmark, Belgium, Holland, and Normandy. These 4 territories for the Axis, they have to end the game with 4 ground units. Don't use Air Force. I've seen players, even experienced ones, we all get tired and we've been working hard for the week and play a game, and they'll have 3 infantry and a fighter sitting in Normandy thinking they're going to get the Atlantic Wall point. Air Force does not count in Atlantic Wall. AA guns are land units, so you could have 4 AA guns in Normandy, and if they survive at the end of the game, you've got the Atlantic Wall point if you have 4 of them in each one of those 4 territories. Now we'll come over here to the oil point. This covers a lot of the map. You got 1 in Romania. You got 1 in Caucasus. You've got Iraq and Iran. You'll see them with the oil on the map. Saudi Arabia is a neutral country. So if you're struggling, and well, I'll show you the other ones real quick. Sumatra, Java, Borneo, Celebes, and Dutch New Guinea. There's 10 of them. You need 4 out of 10 for 1 victory point, and 8 out of 10 to get 2 victory points for the oil. So when you look at this, let's say Japan's doing bad and all the oil islands are taken from you. You've got Romania over here. Maybe you're doing all right in Russia and you got the Caucasus. And let's say Japan does hold on to 1. Let's say they got Borneo, and you need a 3rd one somehow. Maybe the Middle East is too much to crack a nut on the last final round. Don't forget about Saudi Arabia, guys. If you're doing all right over here, you can send a fleet down. Or even Japan, if they got Calcutta, can have a couple transports you can set up for a strike on Saudi Arabia to get your 4th oil point, at least get 1 victory point out of that. So then after that, you have the Southeast Asia point, is Burma, Shan State, Thailand, French Indochina, and Malaya. Got to have all 5 of them. China point is all those blue dice that had the number 1 on it. It's all the original Chinese territories, and on the map they will have the China flag. Even on the coast, Japan starts with these, but they're Chinese original territories, and that includes Manchuria. So you have to have all of the China territories that have the China point. There's also the Pacific Island point. That's the red dice that are sitting there in Borneo, Manila, New Britain, Solomon, Gilbert Islands, Fiji, Samoa, Line Islands, Johnson, Wake, Honolulu, Midway, don't forget Guam, and the Aleutian Islands up there. So there you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 UK and American islands sitting out here. You need only 4. So when you start to play the game, you'll realize you can grab Guam because that gives you a +3 NO. You're going to get Manila probably, and you're going to get Borneo. So there you have 3 islands, and all you need for the rest of the game is to nab 1 more, and hold it by the end of the game, and you'll have 4 of 10 islands. A lot of players forget that. So that point is available. Now, this is how I learned my points, is right here how I showed you guys. You could read that book when it comes to the points all you want. And some people, it'll stick to you, but it's better to visualize it. So grab that book and open up the points and set up your map with no units on it, like I have here, and lay your points out. And go in that book and read, okay, this is the Ottawa point. Bam, I know it's there. What point is this down here? This is the Rio de Janeiro, sorry. You'll learn what the med point is, both by reading it and by looking at it at the same time. You can visualize this med point. So when you start playing the game, you know that you got to have the islands in 3 of the 4. So you'll learn where all the oil points are at. And also, what this helped me out doing is, when you look at this map like this with no units on it, it's just the map and it's just the victory conditions, the victory points. You can start to see where some territories have 2. Like Cairo, for instance. If you get Cairo, you automatically get 1 victory point for it being Cairo. Plus, you already start to have the med point. Same over here with Manila. You've got 1 victory point just for having Manila, if you hold it, but you also have 1 of the 4 islands. Borneo is the same way. So when you hold a territory, you might be holding a couple of victory points just by holding that 1 territory. So you get an idea of what territories are important in this game also. But also when you look at this map, you start learning strategy too. Because you see where these points are at, and as the axis, when you're playing axis, you know you need 12 of them. So you can just look at this map and be like, okay, I know I can get Tokyo, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Manila. There's 4 points. What other point can I get out of here that I can hold that's relatively close to my core right here? This is the core of Africa, or Japan. This is the strong point. Just like Berlin and Western Germany here is the strong point of Germany. So you can start to look at these points around the board and formulate your strategy just by visually looking at the point setup here, and you also learn where these points are at. Another good thing about doing this that I found is study the map also. Now, why hammer time do I need to study a stinking map with no units on it or anything? Well, because it also helps out with doing strategy. Like a lot of people learned, you can put a UK minor factory in Belgium, Congo. Well, why? It's close to Egypt, so when you build one here, you can see the value is 2, which that's what you need to build a miner. So UK can build a miner here, and then when they start building on here, let's say round 2, let's just say you did it in round 1, you can rail 1, 2, 3 right into Cairo each round, up to 2 units, because that's what Belgium Congo's territory is valued at. So you can rail 2 units around up to Cairo, which helps protect you from putting a miner in Cairo, where the Axis will love to come down and take from you. Also in the Middle East, you see Iraq is 2. And Iran is 2. Well, there's 2 more spots you can do miners. Up there in Siberia. Some people, when you really get good at this game, look at that. Russia in Siberia, it's a 2. So there are some strategies that you can build a Russian miner over in Siberia. But you new guys don't do that yet. So this is how I learned the game. And let's not forget the right point at 70 and the imperial point. You got 52 IPCs worth of territories at the end of the game for Japan. That's a point. And so is the German and Italy combined. You have 70 IPCs or more controlled on the board at the end of the game. So this is just an introduction to how to play, how to be better at BBR. This book is a must. Or download it to your phone. You gotta know the rules, guys. You gotta know the rules. I know we're not gonna know them all. At some point we should, but you got this. You have to know this in order to play that. You just have to. And get out the map. Don't put any units on it, man. Lay all your points out, okay? And just sit there and study the map. Everybody's got time for that when they're at home. You don't have to be playing a game to learn this game. You read the book, study this map. Look at where the strong points are at. You know. Oh, I didn't put a. Oh no, I was gonna say I didn't put a. I was looking at Carolina and I was gonna say I didn't put down naval base or air base, but that's on my map. I just threw this down. But when you look at the map, you'll learn where the strong points are at. You know, Caroline Islands is a crucial territory in the Pacific. It has a naval base, has an air base. It'll get you all the way to the mainland in one round of combat. Over here, Gibraltar is a very major, just like Caroline. Caroline in the west, Gibraltar in the Europe. It gives you access to the Mediterranean as the Allies to start really punching the Axis right in the gut here on the underbelly. So Gibraltar is crucial for both sides. So is Cairo and the Suez Canal. So when you look at this, you really should set out your map. And you don't have to use dice, just whatever you want to use. Put your points out on the board like I did here. And I did do this, man. I studied this map as I started learning the right way after I wasn't learning much by just playing for the first 2 months. I did. I did this. And I just studied the map. And I was like, wow, this value territory, I can build a miner here, or I can do this. Or you count out spots on where's a great spot to put your Air Force. With whoever country you're playing, you know, and you can start coming up with your own strategies just by studying the points and the map itself. Because when you start putting all that clutter, you know, look at this. And you put my lights over on top of my other map, but I'll light it up here. When you start putting all this clutter on the board, it really takes away from the lines of the territories and, you know, oh, airbase here. You know, it's hard to study the map with all the units on it. So take whatever map you have. I gotta move the light over. And do this right here, guys. I know it's kind of cheesy. This ain't for the experts or the great players. They already know the game. I'm talking to you new guys. And you guys that's been in the game for a while but are still struggling to reach the next level. And just by doing this helps out with your points, and you study the map and you study that rule book. Then when you start playing the games, you have a good foundation, and that's where experience will start teaching you. And that's why at first, for the first 2 or 3 months, experience wasn't teaching me anything over there on the board because I didn't know this. I didn't know the map. I didn't know the point system. And I didn't know that. So I couldn't learn anything from experience over there because I didn't know anything here. So if you learn this, you learn the points, you're familiar with the map, and I mean get really familiar with the map. Know whether you're playing, Japan starts with a massive air force, okay? So that is a major tool that Japan must use properly in order to be successful in this game. So, do I want all my planes landing up in here? And, you know, you should already know. If I have my planes in Manchuria, will they get to a Burma attack for a counter? Do I need an air base? Will my bombers that I just bought in rounds 3 or 4, where do they need to be set up on the board to do a Calcutta hit with my fleet? Where does my fleet need to be? So, if you look at the map and you just study it and picture where your units are going to be, once you set it up, and then you can start play testing some strategies. Okay, that's where this play testing comes in. So I'm just trying to get across to you guys. You gotta know this, man. I know it's like school. Who wants to open up a stinking book, man? But you gotta do it. I'm just gonna tell you right now, if you have the desire to get better and learn this game and compete and start winning, you gotta crack that open. And you gotta know it from inside out. You gotta do this. Set up the map. This is visual, okay? This is all in words. You know, you're trying to visualize it. You're trying to visualize it as you're reading it when you're going through the point system and stuff. But if you crack open the book, you can actually read it and look at it at the same time and study this map. I'm just going to harp on it. Study the map. In order to be great, and I'm not great. I'm still learning this game. But the great players know where they want all their planes to be at the end of their turn. And they know when it's there, where can it reach? It can reach out here. It can reach back to Tokyo in case the Americans try something. It can reach down here if UK wants to break out of Calcutta or you set up for something. It also helps you form strategies, because if you have everything in Burma and Yunnan, of course the UK guy knows you're coming for Calcutta. But there's other strategies you can use. Maybe your Air Force can be set somewhere else, including your bomber drops, can be set up here or over here with an air base or something, and the UK guy doesn't recognize that. Well, he may skimp some and send some guys over here to Middle East, or maybe over here thinking they got enough to stop whatever land units you got here and a few planes that'll reach. But all of a sudden you come in on Japanese turn with the bombers from all the way over somewhere, and they get caught flat-footed, and you take Calcutta because you studied the map and you know where your pieces should be. So this game is all about your tactics also. You got to learn this map to know where your pieces can go, to put them in the right position always. Because let me tell you, when your fleet or your Air Force or even your land units are out of position, this is only an 8-round game, and you've just wasted a turn because you're out of position, and that is bad news, because that turn might be the fall of Cairo if you're the Allies, or the fall of Calcutta because you were out of position, or they gave you an opportunity to take Calcutta if you're the Axis, but your planes are out of position. So now it takes a turn for you to move them where they're supposed to be. Well, by that time they see what's coming because now you've moved it down. So this is all part of strategy and tactics. You know, you don't always want your opponent to know what you're doing. So if you learn this map and you know the rules and your technology and the capability of the units, you can piece all that together over time and figure out how to become very, very good and deceiving at times. and do things differently. But you have to study. I'm telling you, I still set this up like this. When it's time for me, which I've been doing it for the last couple months, I'm going to start doing some different stuff. I did this right here, but I had it up on my table because I'm an old man and I like to be up there instead of down here on the ground. But I take the map like this and I put it up there. I don't have the points on there just because I have those memorized now. So I'll have a clean map with no units on it, and I will just sit up there and stare at it and just keep formulating stuff and seeing what I can do. So, guys, I'm going to end this video here, but please read the book. Read the rules. You are going to lose on technicalities. You're going to lose because you thought you could move your tank from let's just say from Rostov over to Kazakhstan. I don't know why. I'm just saying. But there's a miner in Stalingrad that was never moved. There's no one there. But, oh, wait a minute. You can't, because you can't blitz through a miner. Or you're spending so much money on Japan to defend against their bombards, because they got so many and they have super battleships, when all you need is a stinking plane or one stinking destroyer. Leave it there, and that takes away all the bombards. Okay? So, read the book, set your map out, put all the points out on the board like this, and just study it. Okay? Just study it and study it, and you'll start seeing the wheels in your head turning and be like, oh, I never thought about that, or oh, I could do this, and then set up the board like this and start playing it. So it'll work out sometimes it won't. You can tweak it to make it better. But you can't do this. You can't play this right here. You can't play this right here with a great opponent standing right there in front of you. You can't play this right here if you don't know the rules and you don't know the map and you don't know the points. So again, I just went over the points, but that's not going to help anybody. You're not going to remember it just by reading it also in the book. Visualize it. Get that map out, man. Put the points up and just study the game that you want to get good at. This is just for the players that are new and average, who just want to get better. Everybody else, they're not going to do none of this. But for those of you that want to get better and be able to compete, and that's who I'm talking to here, and this is what this whole series is about, study the map, guys. Study it, study it. Study the book. And then when you go here and play against players and stuff goes wrong and some stuff goes right, you're going to have a good foundation, and you're going to learn much quicker, and the experience will actually help you more because you know the rules and you know the point system and you know what needs to be done now. You know what to expect in rounds 7 and 8 over here, all over the board. You know what's going to happen and what you need to do. So, all right, well, I guess I'm going to cut this video off. Good Lord, I just blab on and on, man. I'm at, what, 39 minutes? But that's all right, because by now only those that are interested are still listening. So at least I got a few of you. Anyways, you guys take care out there, man. Get in some games, and be safe. Hammer time out.